We're going to see soldiers on the streets. We're going to see a significant ramping up of the security threat. The critical level is important. It means that we are actually facing a real threat, a clear and present danger in the near term. How does this affect British politics? This is a big step up.
It is. I mean, one thing I would say about the deployment of troops, I mean, of course, this is something we've seen in France now for a long time. So this is something that European countries are just perhaps going to have to become more and more used to. On the political issue, I mean, obviously, it is a time sort of national mourning. So all parties are resolutely sticking to the agreement not to campaign. And I think it's going to be a while yet before we see the election coming back into full swing. But, this does highlight the leadership issue in times of crisis. People do look for, traditionally this will help whoever is the sitting Prime Minister or the sitting President. And Theresa May certainly is, the British politician who is most adept, shall we say, at sort of dealing with this. This is their area of expertise, exactly. And it's also, you have to remember, this comes on the back of these Tory criticisms of Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, that he's always been a little bit suspect on terrorism. There was this recent, the whole question of his support for the IRA in the 1970s and 80s had just sort of come up again before this happened. So in terms of where of British politics, it's going to be a while before we go back to campaigning, but if you're, Theresa May, you certainly feel like you're on pretty solid ground here.
Yeah, I mean, she seemed last week, John, to be a little bit defensive in her comments on the campaign trail. Today, although she's obviously not campaigning, she looks very, because I'm American, the word I think of is presidential, but surely prime ministerial is the term you would use in England.
That's right. I mean, you're right to point out that she had been going through a sticky phase. There was, she was forced into what many people called a U-turn on some of her social care policies announced in the manifesto, in the party's manifesto last week, and so she was looking a little bit rattled. And again, but this gets her onto much more sort of solid territory. But it is important to point out that if you talk to pollsters about this, it's not necessarily a given that this that she will automatically benefit from this. You could just as easily see people return, people comfort voting, so to speak, going back to their roots and deciding in this time of uncertainty, I'm always going to vote for the Labour Party, for example, the party I've always voted for. That's how people might sort of look at it as well. So these sorts of national tragedies can play out in sometimes in unexpected ways.